Well, well, well. Llama has finally come crawling back to his YouTube channel. It is great to be back, playing a good game after a brief hiatus. Welcome everyone. Today, I'm showing you a build I crafted up out of sheer brute force of wanting to try the new Ritualist Ascendancy. It took a lot of trial and error, but I am happy to show you my journey to the end result. A bleed and poison herald twister spewing Ritualist. It is amazing at clearing maps and has pretty solid boss damage as well. And I'm quite confident I can get this build far more powerful than it is in its current state. But anyways, let's get right into this campaign. I was lucky enough to drop 2 exalts in Act 1. Ridiculous, I know, but so is the rest of this video, so believe me or not, it happened. Anyways, used to buy Fox Shade for some great early movement speed and defense. Followed up by a pretty decent Vendor Spear and a Rondella Fragility, because who doesn't love a glass cannon build? I second tried Gianner. I swapped over to Lightning Spear, or whatever the hell it is, to make leveling a little easier to start. But I promise this isn't just spamming lighting the entire campaign. I just needed to get situated back in a game after some time away. And steamrolled right through the start of Act 2 before I got jumped in a dark alley by some beetles. So I went and got my first Ascendancy done and took Blood Boil for some extra early game damage. I knew I wanted to try a bleed build, so this was the first step in that direction. Anyways, I finished up Act 2 and next stopped to pick up my first important item for my build. Veno Puncture, which is great for adding bleed chance as well as bleed damage. And I slowly but surely started to move away from lightning. First using Rake as my primary skill. To be honest, this felt clunky. It is super satisfying to see Herald of Blood and Blood Boil work together, but really it felt like most of my damage was coming from this combo and not from Rake itself. I knew pretty much right away this is not what I wanted to use for the rest of my time, but I had kind of cornered myself into playing it for the time being. I thought this was about the most interesting thing to show in Act 3. Alva just wanted nothing to do with Viper and all their bullshit, and decided to take a nap on the floor while I fought to the death for both of us. Useless ass NPC. Anyways, I first tried Viper, got smoked by the ultimatum boss because I have forgotten what all bosses do in this game. Got a shield and pushed on through Doriani into Act 1, where I found myself stuck against the wall against Bramblegast, and they could not hit me. Another epic gaming moment to share with the masses. Just great stuff. This is what keeps the people coming back. High octane. I then picked up some bushwhack boots that cause pin buildup on physical damage. This is so I can easily generate frenzy charges with charge infusion. Those frenzy charges will help me empower my whirling slash so that we can spew out a shit ton of twisters. And finally, my real build is starting to come together. Although initially I admit the damage isn't the best, it is still quite fun to play with even at this point. And before the fabled rematch with Gianner, I stopped for a rematch with Ultimatum. This time we succeed, and we pick up Unfurled Finger. Finally, I can have 3 rings, which is a massive upgrade for this build. More to come on that soon. Okay, fuck this. Spoiler, I dropped 2 Chaos Orbs, and we're going shopping, baby. Right off the bat, I bought some support gems that I otherwise would not be able to get at this point. Hema Crystals for Herald of Blood, and Salvo for Whirlwind Lance. That way I always throw out a shit ton of whirlwinds, which in turn means a shit ton of twisters. I also picked up Icefang Orbit, which is basically like the poison version of the bleed ring we got earlier. I also picked up a new belt to shore up some defenses. I then spent some time respecting my passive tree to be more focused on ailments. If you couldn't guess by now, those ailments are bleed and poison, and you should probably go talk to somebody. Anyways, Let's give the blessings bestowed upon me by the chaos or Deshat. Dude, I don't know why my text-to-speech just cannot say that sentence. But whatever. I have 700 subs, nobody cares. Let's keep going. Wow. Okay, Jamanra just got phased without doing his stupid windstorm attack. Maybe this build will actually be useful. I then stopped by my new favorite hideout to get a very solid upgrade on my weapon, which increased my damage considerably. And now it's time to rush through the rest of the campaign with no issues. Excellent. Very, very excellent. The real fun can now begin. At this point, I was pretty confident that the build was going to do well in maps. And boy, oh boy, I was right. Without any real upgrades, I was rushing right through low-level maps, pretty much doing whatever I wanted. But I will say, I was still trying to figure out how to properly play this build. So don't judge the build when I throw twisters at the wall, judge me instead. But wow, it is so satisfying to see the boss's health bars just drain like this. And even more satisfying to see entire mob packs implode between Herald of Blood, Blood Boil, and Herald of Poison. It is especially good on close corridor maps like this, because the twisters hit things way more often, to the point where it actually can get hard to see things. And wow, Tujin just gifted me an insane amulet. I actually just don't even need to change anything. This will just slot right into the build. Finally, something good from Expedition. Anyways, here's how my passive skill tree is looking right now. It's mainly focused on spear damage, bleed, and poison, with honestly very little defense yet. And here's where I had planned on ending the video. So I decided to take a break to play some games with friends for a bit.
What is happening in my stream? Oh.
Oh God, is that me? Where the hell is my face?
What the fuck?
So I went to get my third Ascendancy, and we get Mystic Attunement with that Ascendancy. 25% increased bonuses from rings and amulets. This is what made me want to try Ritualist out. This on top of the third ring makes you able to play so many interesting builds. To be honest, I don't think it's truly necessary for this build in particular, but it's definitely a fun new thing to try out. And by the way, yes, that was a llama voice reveal. I almost decided to make this video with my real voice, but I feel like this TDS voice is good, but comedic in like just the right way. So anyways, we pushed on through the Atlas maps, just trying to level up my maps as much as possible. I did stop to make some more purchases, and then wow. Okay, we get our first Divine Orb. Time to do some more shopping. First, yet another new spear. Looking for as high physical damage and crit chance as possible. Next, a new helmet with as much evasion as possible. Then instilling crippling toxins on my amulet for more poison magnitude. I cheaped out on this instill, and we will be changing this later. A 3-charm slot belt. And oh my god, I don't even know what to use this shit on, man. Alright, I guess I will buy a few more things. And yeah, we were just melting these mid-level map bosses and the Expedition boss. This build is feeling better and better with every upgrade. And it's also just really fun to play, which is the most important part to me. I went on to get my 4th Ascendancy after watching a YouTube tutorial how to fight this boss, because I honestly had never gotten this far in any build yet. I first took Ritual Sacrifice, but don't do this. This shit is so ass, dude. I swapped this over to the Life Recovery node instead. This is better, but honestly nothing is really that great. This 4th Ascendancy isn't as important, to be honest. We collect yet another Divine. They're just rolling in at this point. I took a quick pit stop to kill one of the Citadel bosses. I finally found one. And then we get another Divine. This may not be PO 1 strong boxes, but we are still farming currency, baby. We then instill leeching toxins. This is giving us even more poison magnitude, as well as giving us excellent sustain when killing poison enemies. We then spend our first full Divine, an amazing new spear with attack speed and poison on hit. This is a massive upgrade to the build. It's a bad proxy for damage, but we gained 1100 DPS to Twister, nice. And then I got glitched outside the simulacrum that I had grinded my ass for. Out of sheer pride and spite, I bought another one off the currency exchange because I really wanted to beat one. Thanks, GGG. I then bought a really awesome base chest. I rolled a really awesome corrupt on it, giving us more max life. It was only now that I realized that I forgot to quality it up, and I actually wanted to quit the game and never make another video in my life. But then instead, I dropped another Divine Orb. All is well. I stopped and got some boots to finally replace my bushwhack boots. Found another Citadel. But unfortunately, I have yet to find the last one. And this is where I am going to stop this video. So let's review the build at this point in its entirety. But if you're not interested in that, I get it. Me neither, but please don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'm not going to discuss every item in the build or every skill gem, but I do feel like I at least hover over everything important, and we can discuss how the build works in the meantime. Basically, we have two main abilities: Twister and Whirlwind Lance. We use pinning physical damage and charge infusion to generate frenzy charges that empower our Whirlwind Lance. And with Salvo, this can make us launch up to 5 empowered whirlwinds at once. This alone already does great damage, but then we throw tornadoes at those whirlwinds. This detonates the whirlwinds, while also splitting them into a shit ton of whirlwinds. This is even better when the whirlwinds are enhanced. When fighting bosses, we use Barrage and Replacement for our empowered whirlwinds, as we cannot reliably generate frenzy charges on one target. On top of all this, we have over 100% chance to bleed and almost 100% chance to poison as well, both of which have massively buff magnitudes via the tree, rings, amulets, and crits. Blood Boil provides us some great extra physical overtime damage, and then we have the two Heralds. Together they can clear a pack by themselves, as poisoned enemies pass their poison on when they die, and Herald of Blood makes bleeding enemies implode AoE damage. These work with each other to spread bleed and poison throughout packs, and between those and infinite Pierce Twisters, there is very little the packs can do but die. I hope this offers a good summary of what the build can do, and I hope you enjoyed my journey playing it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Llama, out.